An absolute bombshell of Black Ops 7 Zombies DLC leaks just dropped, including exactly where the DLC 1 map Astra Malorum is going to take place, multiple Zombies DLC map locations being completely cancelled, and even the rumor of one DLC map being a remake. Goes without saying, but when talking about anything regarding rumors and leaks, we need to take it with a grain of salt because we don't know exactly how true or false any of this is. As we get into it, I would love to know your thoughts about this in the comment section below, and to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos updating you on DLC leaks, rumors, and official reveals, be sure to subscribe and click that thumbs up button as well. All of this information comes courtesy of The Ghost of Hope, which is one of the most reputable Call of Duty insiders over on Twitter and has a very clean track record when it comes to these reports being accurate. So let's first talk about all of the new DLC 1 leak details, which is for the map Astra Malorum. We had this revealed a few weeks ago with this singular map image, and the name translates to Stars of Evil in Latin. Ever since this map's reveal, the community has been confused whether this is a map set in a space station or if it's a map set in New York City. The Ghost of Hope is finally putting that conversation to bed because he tweets exclusive Astra Malorum, which is releasing with Season 1 of Black Ops 7, will be the long-rumored space station map. Now, the context of the words long-rumored space station map go all the way back to March of this year, where Insider Gaming posted a bombshell article detailing all of the map locations coming to Black Ops 7 Zombies, and one of those included a map set on a space station. The Ghost of Hope then goes on to say that this map will take place in an observatory atop a skull with a red glow in space. Now, I think we can all agree that the image that Treyarch revealed to us is 100% an observatory. In the middle of the room is a Zeiss projector, which is projecting a planetarium on the ceiling. What many of us believe to be a planetarium in New York City is actually a planetarium in an observatory which is floating on top of a skull in space. Now, straight away, this sounds so freaking cool. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment section. In terms of a map setting, it sounds really cool. The Ghost of Hope goes on to say that he's also heard from another source that the map may have some parts that take place on Earth similar to that of Moon, but that isn't something he's 100% on. Just watching this background footage of the Area 51 section of Moon, where we've just blown up the Earth, just look how beautiful this is, and to think that we could be getting something in the same vein of this, it's hard not to get a little bit excited. Just the idea of another Zombies map being set in space sounds so cool. And it makes a lot of sense now, where in the developer blog where they revealed this image, Kevin Drew said that this map was something that was out of this world. Ghost of Hope even followed this up to say that it's not even really a space station map, by the way. I just labeled it as that. Given the previous leak about it, it's super unique. And if anything, that just gets me more excited about the discussion on this. And he goes on in a reply to Expert Fusion to say that in his opinion, it's the best looking and most interesting map that Treyarch have done in the Dark Ether era so far. With another reply from Ravis Rafe asking, as long as space is involved, I'm hyped, and he said very, which I assume means that space is very heavily themed in this. Now, we have even more details on this that sort of double down on these details being true, as Magua Network tweeted an exclusive leak 2 days ago saying that DLC 1 is not set in New York City or anything of the sort like previously rumored. They cannot say what DLC 1 is, as it's better off not being spoiled. So it seems, at least from face value, that there are some people out there that have some details about what this upcoming map is. Magua Network may have heard similar details but didn't want to actually explain what the map is, but Ghost of Hope has shared those details today. Ghost of Hope also says that the Wonder vehicle seems to be involved in the overarching story beyond just Ashes of the Damned, and in the replies, he mentions that the characters simply use the vehicle to go from Ashes of the Damned to Astra Malorum. There isn't anything more involved in terms of the Wonder vehicle actually being present in this DLC map as well. But in terms of a story perspective, it sounds like that vehicle will follow them and they will use it to get between all of these different maps, apparently. And when you think of it, Ted is now installed in that Wonder vehicle, and he is the new version of SAM in this game. So if we're going to have the Ted trials in all of the maps, then it only makes narrative sense that Ted needs to physically be there with us. But the second part of his tweet is a huge bombshell where he says he's also heard that all of the previously leaked zombies maps, besides the space station map and the Japanese volcano map, were cancelled and replaced with completely different map location ideas. He says the current plan is still 5 DLC maps, so that's pretty crazy, 5 DLC maps in this cycle rather than 4, and there are plans to have a map remake amongst those 5 DLC maps. Diving a little bit further, he quote tweets himself to say, with this, the nuked New York City map is cancelled, the Vietnam map is cancelled, and the Afghanistan map would be the cancelled leaked maps. And again, when he refers to that, he refers to those map descriptions that were leaked by Insider Gaming all the way back in March of 2025 that mentioned a nuked New York City, Vietnam, and Afghanistan, which were all going to be maps centered around Richtofen, Dempsey, and Nikolai, which were coincidentally connected by their bios, which described them coming from Vietnam and Afghanistan. TheGhostOfHope then goes on to say that he heard that that original leak of those map descriptions from March stemmed purely from concept art that was shared privately behind the scenes. So he's of the opinion that a lot of those maps didn't make it very far into development. Now, this is all just absolutely crazy to hear for a multitude of reasons. The first, that those leaked map descriptions, apart from the volcano map, which is apparently Takio's map, and then the space station map, which I don't even know what character it would connect to, if it connects to any of them, in terms of the map being solely focused around one of the characters. That is quite crazy. But I think the crazier part of that is that one of these maps is going to be a remake. Until this tweet, there has been zero discussion about any of the DLC maps in this game being remakes, but according to TheGhostOfHope, one of these maps could be a remake. Throughout all of Zombies, we've only ever gotten 4 DLC maps. Yes, we had a DLC 5 for Black Ops 3, but that wasn't a DLC 5 map, that was a map pack. This is insinuating that there will be 5 DLC maps, 4 of them potentially being completely original and then 1 of them being a full map remake. Now, the question is, what map could possibly be remade for Black Ops 7? Now, if we're thinking logically, we need to look at the existing maps that have yet to have a remaster or a remake, which covers Transit, Die Rise, Buried. I wouldn't think Transit, because Ashes of the Damned is a spiritual successor to Transit, so it doesn't make any sense for them to then also have Transit in there, as the map experiences would be very similar. I don't think they would do Die Rise, but of course, when we first saw the intro cutscene for Ashes of the Damned, new antagonist everyone suspected could be Jebediah Brown, who created the Pack-a-Punch machine in Buried. And imagine how incredible it would be if we go back to Buried to learn about the backstory of the antagonist and we get to see a fully fleshed out remake of Buried. I think that would be incredible. But another thing to remember is that we are now 10 years on from Black Ops 3 Zombies, which is just mind-blowing to even comprehend. And we're at the point now where those maps are old enough to see remakes or remasters at some point in the future. Could you imagine seeing a remake of Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, or even Gorod Krovi? Part of me is just trying to think on what logical map locations would make sense in regards to each map being tied to a certain character. Takio will supposedly have that rumored volcano map in Japan, so we need to think about where Nikolai and Dempsey would go, as well as Richtofen. Dempsey was Der Eisendrache, although that's not really themed around his background, whilst Nikolai's was Gorod Krovi, which was entirely around his background. I think it would make a lot of sense for Nikolai to return to a Russian-style map, Dempsey to an American-style map, and Richtofen, of course, to a German map. But I think even for myself discussing this, I think we need to make sure we manage our expectations here, because this is just a rumor. We don't have any concrete proof to suggest that this is 100% happening. And I think until it's confirmed, I think we should temper expectations on there actually being 5 DLC maps to start with, and then also with one of them being a remake. I mean, if we look at Black Ops 4 Zombies, especially with the Aether storyline, most of those were all just remakes, so it's not out of the ordinary for Treyarch to go down that route. But I think especially with regards to Black Ops 6, the philosophy with their map design was to be completely original maps, you know, original settings that we've never seen before, and I don't think that's going to change for Black Ops 7. So I'm skeptical on the idea of a remake, purely from the fact that they would probably want to keep things as original as possible, but I would not be at all upset at the idea of them them doing a remake of something, because we've not really seen that yet in mainline Black Ops in this Dark Ether timeline. But until we get any concrete details from Treyarch about Astra Malorum and the future DLC releases, it is all just a rumor for now. Take it with a grain of salt, but of course, let me know your thoughts about this all down below in the comment section.